Hello, boxing fans. Welcome to another episode of World Championship Boxing. And today we're going to talk about some recent fights. And I'm joined by the expert on boxing, Silva. How you doing, man?
Hey, good afternoon, Logan. Good afternoon, fight fans. As we talk about this past weekend's fights and a very unimpressive effort by one of the top fighters in the world, Terrence Crawford. This is the first time in several years, probably since his breakout win against Yorkis Gamboa several years ago, that there was a chink in the armor of the great one. And even though I still think, because I believe, I got a bad feeling, and I'm glad we did the podcast on Errol Spence's greatest performances, I don't think Errol's ever going to fight again.
Oh, man, that's a shame.
Not because there has been no pictures whatsoever of him since the accident. We saw what the car looked like, and then they claimed less than 24 hours after the accident, his team and PBC and Al Heyman came out saying, there's no broken bones, just some minor cuts, but no pictures. No pictures. No statement from Errol Spence. None whatsoever. This car accident happened 2 months ago. No pictures, no statements, no press conferences. So I'm going to assume the worst and say that his career is over.
Wow. Well, only time will tell, right?
Think about it, Logan. And then Bob Arum the other day, when they asked him about him, was like, Bob Arum claims that he heard through sources that Errol Spence won't be fighting anytime in the foreseeable future. So right now, I'm not counting Errol Spence as a factor in boxing or in the welterweight division. So I'm saying the best welterweight in the world is Terrence Crawford. And last night, he looked very beatable for a guy like Sean Porter. Now, while I would still favor Crawford, if Crawford fought Porter last night, Porter would beat Crawford.
Okay. So who else in the division do you think would have won against that Crawford?
Manny's too old, and Keith Thurman is done. As far as he took too much time off. I don't think Keith Thurman will ever be. And then Keith Thurman's taking more time off because he claimed he hurt himself in the fight against Manny Pacquiao. So Keith Thurman is done. So really, as far as welterweights go, Sean Porter would be the only threat to Terrence Crawford right now of the fighters that are active.
Is he in any way going? Is there any possibility of that fight, or is it?
Sean Porter told Max Kellerman. Sean Porter was on Max Kellerman's show right after he lost to Errol Spence. Said that he has no obligation to PBC as far as his fights go. There is promoters, but he would be willing to fight Terrence Crawford with or without PBC's blessing. They should make this fight. I want to see that fight. It would be a hell of a fight because if Crawford fought the way he fought last night, it would be a war. And one thing about Sean Porter, even if Crawford's at his best, which I would expect him to be because last night he took this guy too lightly, I don't see him doing the same thing against Sean Porter. Even if Crawford's at his best, he's smaller than Porter, and Porter with his unorthodox style would give Crawford hell. It would be a tremendous fight.
Let's talk about this fight then, because we talked about so much around it. It looked like he was fighting southpaw the whole time. Is that right?
For the first 7.5 rounds, he fought southpaw. And because of that, what we always say, Logan, the best weapon when you're an orthodox fighter against a southpaw is the right cross. And he landed that right cross over and over again throughout the first 6 rounds. After 6 rounds, I had to fight dead even because Kavaliauskas kept landing that right cross. He kept timing Crawford. And Crawford was being stubborn and not changing to regular orthodox. When he did change in the 7th round, the fight turned. He hurt Kavaliauskas to the body and dropped him late in the 8th round, dropped him 2 more times in the 9th round to stop him. It's funny. The minute he turned his style around to his regular style, he dominated the fight. It was him being stubborn and like, I can't believe this guy who's not on my level is landing. I don't understand what Crawford was doing last night. he didn't take this guy seriously, and there was a knockdown that they didn't count. He was dropped in the third round from a beautiful, and they called it a slip, which was bullshit. And why is Mark Kriegel still getting a paycheck from ESPN? A couple of rounds later, he goes, "Oh, I don't know why did he go to the replay to show that was a knockdown." You stupid fuck! You can't go to a replay if a referee makes a judgment decision that it was a. What a dumbass!
Oh man, that's dumb.
Anyway, back to the fight. I give credit to Kavaliauskas. He fought his heart out. I mean, he's not a pimple on Crawford's ass when it comes to talent, but he fought a very smart fight as far as Crawford was in the southpaw position and he was timing that right cross. And Crawford, who's usually a master counterpuncher, was the aggressor, and it was Kavaliauskas for the first 6 rounds that was landing the more effective counterpunching. I was shocked. I'm very disappointed in Crawford's performance last night, especially you in Madison Square Garden, and you're letting a guy that's not on your level fight on even terms with you for the first 6 rounds. And I never saw Crawford hit this much. Crawford was hit more in the first 6 rounds than probably his last 10 fights combined.
What was Crawford's last fight?
Against China Chin Khan back in April. Total one-sided beating where Khan quit. I got hit in my nuts. I can't continue.
Who's his toughest opponent as of yet? Was it this guy?
It was this guy, because while Gamboa stunned him briefly, Crawford dominated most of that fight. This, in my opinion, was his toughest fight of his career so far. And that's not saying much, because Kavaliauskas is not a good – I mean, he's a decent fighter. I guess you could say he's a good fighter, but he's not a world-class fighter. And Crawford's 32 years old now. And this also happens, Logan. We've talked about this many times. When you fight one stiff after another, after another, after another, it catches up to you. And it almost caught up to him last night. Kavaliauskas is not a heavy puncher, but he knocked Crawford down, even though they didn't call it a knockdown. If he would have been in with a heavier puncher last night, he would have been in serious, serious trouble.
You want to say that it's his fault and not that his opponent was great.
It's a combination of both. But look, once Crawford turned regular, he completely dominated the fight, and he put the guy out less than 2 rounds after he turned. He changed his style in the 8th round and then knocked him out in the 9th. Had he adjusted like he usually does earlier, he could have taken this guy out. But no, he stayed southpaw and kept getting hit by unnecessary right hands.
Yeah, he was getting nailed.
And I'm talking about flush, not glancing blows, right down the pipe. And horrible job by the referee. He was knocked down. That was a knock. He got clipped with a beautiful combination, and was going down. The feet didn't touch, and the referee calls it a slip. That's the star getting the benefit of the doubt. Another thing, the judges gave this guy only 1 round. The fuck were they looking at? All 3 judges gave him the only round they gave him was that round where he was robbed of the knockdown. That's the only round they gave him. I gave him rounds 2, 3, and 6, and those were the rounds where he was a more effective counterpuncher and landed the rights at will. I mean, Crawford's defense was non-existent, and that's what led to Crawford turning the fight around in the 7th and 8th round when he finally went to be a regular orthodox, and then he totally dominated from then on, finally knocking him out in the 9th round. Also, Crawford abandoned the body for the first 6 rounds, which I guess he had a hard time doing for the southpaw stance against a guy that was trying to counterpunch him. Once he went back to his regular style, that's when he was able to attack the body, and Kavaliauskas had no answer for him once he changed to his regular style.
How come? Do you think that he was just doing what? You know how good teams, when they're winning, they'll put in their second team just to practice a little bit against the. Like they're not supposed to do it, but they do it. Was he just trying out the southpaw stance?
In Crawford, as we've looked throughout his entire career, since he became, for the last 6 years, since he first came onto the national landscape on HBO, he usually starts one way and then changes his style. He usually starts orthodox, and then he feels the opponent out, and then he goes to the style that he feels he could dominate. This was the first fight since he came onto the national landscape that he did not do this. He started southpaw and stayed southpaw for 7 rounds. Usually after the first round, he sees, oh, wow, wait a minute, let me change to the other style. And then he begins to dominate. For some reason, I don't understand it, for the first 7 rounds, he stayed southpaw and made it a more difficult fight for him.
But maybe he did that purposely because he wanted to test himself.
Shout out to the very beautiful and talented Christina Poncher, who was interviewing both corners in between rounds. She was told that Crawford refused to change his style, even though his trainer advised him, well, maybe you should go back to orthodox. And she thought it was him being stubborn. Like,
yeah.
Look, I'm going to stick to the style, which it was. A great input by Christina. It was him being stubborn, and he got hit with unnecessary shots. I don't think he would do that against a Sean Porter or a Danny Garcia or a Manny Pacquiao. But I mean, damn.
He almost got caught.
I was very frustrated myself watching Crawford the first 6 rounds because I like this guy. I hate seeing a guy allow a guy that's not on his level in a fight. And wow, I mean, it's the first time that I've been disappointed at watching Terrence Crawford fight, and I'm being heavily critical of him because he's a great fighter. He's one of the 10 best fighters of the last 10 years. Matter of fact, you could make an argument he's one of the top 5 fighters of the last 10 years, and the way he fought last night was really a shame. But the star of the weekend, enough about Terrence Crawford. The star of the weekend, a guy that I criticized, a guy that I felt was overrated. A star was born last night in my eyes. Teofimo Lopez rose to the occasion last night, and with a spectacular right cross. And I got to give him credit because they say Comey has one of the best right crosses in boxing. Lopez beat Comey with the same shot Comey uses, but he did it. If you look at the replay, he did it like a veteran. He ducked under while throwing the overhand right cross, catching Comey. Comey threw the right hand at the same time. Comey's right hand went over Lopez's because Lopez ducked under, and then Lopez, because he's the shorter fighter, landed the right cross over the top because Comey's fighting tall. Comey walked into it, and that was a wrap. Comey got up, which I was shocked, and took a hellacious beating, and Lopez, like many good fighters, like many great fighters, went to the body because Comey had the guards up and then landed one shot after another. They counted it. 42 unanswered punches, 33 of which landed. And Lopez has the fastest hands in boxing right now. He has the fastest hands in boxing. Combination of the fast hands with punching power, he will be a live underdog when he fights Vasyl Lomachenko in April. Right now, I want to see that fight more than I want to see Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder in February. I'm looking forward to this fight because Lopez, with his youth, with his fast hands, and with his punching powers, is a serious threat to Vasyl Lomachenko. Before last night, I would have bet the house on Lomachenko saying that he would mop the floor with Lopez. No, Lopez has a legit shot to beat a guy that'll be a year older when they fight in April. I am looking forward to that fight. You got Lomachenko's skills against a budding superstar in Teofimo Lopez. Oh, wow. And the fight will probably be in Madison Square Garden. It will sell out in seconds. That will be a great, great, great fight. I can't wait to see. I can't see it being not a great fight considering Lomachenko's all-time great skills and Lopez's skill set, his speed, his power, and his arrogance. Oh, that's going to be a great fight. Mm-hmm. Remember with Lomachenko? He got hit with that same type of right cross by Linares and went down and was seriously hurt. He gets hit with that same type of right hand by Lopez. They'll be scraping Lomachenko up off the canvas. So I can't wait for this fight.
So who has Lomachenko fight that's like?
Neither one has fought anybody like who they're going to face when they face each other on in April. No, Lomachenko's never fought a guy with the speed and power that Lopez has, and Lopez has never fought a guy as great, as skillful, as all-around tremendous body punch and everything as Lomachenko. So these two will be facing unknown quantities when they step in the ring that night.
Right, and you noticed there was some chinks in Lomachenko's armor when you last saw him.
The last few fights Lomachenko's had, he hasn't looked like Lomachenko. But then again, he's older. He's in his 30s. He's older.
Right.
Teofimo Lopez is only 22, 23 years old.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah.
Have you seen Teofimo Lopez take a lot of shots?
No.
Chin-wise?
No, he hasn't had to. In sports, and especially in boxing.
A good offense, yeah.
A good offense is your
It's
best defense many a time. Lopez, his hand speed and his foot speed overcomes whatever defensive liabilities he has. But I got to give that young man credit. He landed that right cross, stayed away from the danger, because they both threw the right hands at the same time. It was Lopez ducking under, throwing it over, while Comey stood up, stalled, throwing it down. That's why Comey got caught and Lopez didn't. Because Lopez
it's like Mike Tyson maneuver.
Yes, and you normally don't see that from a young fighter who's a boxer puncher. Normally you see, because if his face would have been up and not ducking, you could have seen two guys on the floor. A double knockdown.
Who do you liken him to in terms of the past?
He reminds me of Hector Camacho. I've said this a long time ago. Look at the way he comes in the ring with the jumping jacks and the flips and the flashy short and the flashy style, the fast hands. But he doesn't move as much as Camacho. Camacho ran around the ring. Lopez is a much more aggressive fighter. But Lopez reminds me of Camacho with that swag, with the fast hands, and with him talking shit all the time. I hope he doesn't wind up like Camacho, but he reminds me of a young Hector Camacho with more power and a more aggressive style.
And you're saying that fight is signed with...
That fight could happen in April because they already announced it last night. It's a slam dunk. It will be for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world because Lomachenko got all the other belts. Lomachenko's the ring champion, the only title that I recognize. And they're both promoted by Bob Arum. So that fight's a slam dunk to be made. Yeah.
Great.
And Lomachenko, when the fight was over, came in the ring and took pictures with Lopez. And when they interviewed Lomachenko after the fight, he said, "Yes, not that he has title, I give him fight."
If he dies, he dies.
The one major advantage, two major advantages that Lomachenko is going to have over Lopez. He's a better skilled fighter, and Lopez will be on that major stage for the first time. Lomachenko's been on it over and over again. Will the pressure get to Lopez? Because Lopez has a lot to carry. He supports his entire family, his siblings, his parents. None of these motherfuckers work. He supports them all. He's carried them on his back. Oh, I want to go back to Terrence Crawford. You are a major fighter, a major star. You're a good-looking dude. Why does your woman have a stomach bigger than her ass? That is a sloppy-looking broad. Oh, my God. Come on, man. Oh, my God. God.
Hey, man, he loves her, man. Come on.
Oh, man. Anyway, I digress. By the way, and Teofimo, very attractive wife you got. Congratulations. Yeah. Now, back to the other fight that I wanted to talk about is one of the best young. Hey, we talk about welterweights now. Hold up, this guy's a welterweight. Could be a possible future opponent for Terrence Crawford. Friday night, Virgil Ortiz, who in my opinion is the number one prospect in boxing today, systematically broke down and destroyed Brad Solomon. Knocked him down with a power jab in the fourth round. Tremendous jab by Virgil Ortiz. Knocked him down with a jab and then in the 5th round just broke him down to finally the referee had to stop the fight. Virgil Ortiz is the real deal. Hopefully they keep giving him better opponents. There's talk of maybe him fighting Danny Garcia next year, and that would be an interesting contest. He beats Garcia, then he could go ahead and fight a Sean Porter or a Terrence Crawford and take it to the next level. Virgil Ortiz. See that jab, Logan, that you hammered homeboy with? Oh, my God.
Superman jab.
He's an aggressive boxer puncher. He comes at you. Very underrated defensive fighter. And he's a hellacious body puncher. Love watching this guy fight. And once again, I got to give Oscar De La Hoya credit. There is no promoter in the history of the sport that keeps finding young Latin fighters and builds them up, and he profits. And what De La Hoya does with De La Hoya and his team, he doesn't throw his fighters in like Bob Arum does, one stiff after another, and build up his record like PBC does, like Arum does. De La Hoya has you. De La Hoya threw his own nephew to the wolves. Diego De La Hoya. He tells his fighters, "Look, I'm not going to protect you. I'm not going to coddle you. I'm going to throw you in with other prospects that are." Brad Solomon's been a prospect for years, and was considered a live underdog. He had no shot in the world once they got in the ring, but he was considered a live underdog. And Solomon suffered from being with Arum for years, being fed one bum after another. So credit to De La Hoya, who keeps finding these young Latin fighters, and Ortiz will be his next star.
I thought Solomon did okay in the first part of the fight, just counterpunching.
But Ortiz was going to the body, and he was bringing it. Solomon's a good fighter. He's a live underdog, but he didn't have the punching power to keep Ortiz off him. And Ortiz broke him down, dropped him with that jab. It's a wrap for him. He's going to be a caretaker for welterweights coming up. Oscar put him in a ring with a few of his welterweights until he get a few paydays, coupled with the beatings he'll be taking. A lot of so-called experts were comparing Ortiz to De La Hoya. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. De La Hoya was a special fighter. Ortiz has a long way to go, but De La Hoya is putting him in with the right opponents. Let's see who he fights next. I'm hoping he fights Danny Garcia. That would be a great test for Ortiz.
That should be great.
Yes.
So what are we going to do next time?
Let me give the schedule for the next few weeks. Next week will be another fight recap show. We got Jamel Charlo fighting Tony the Tiger Harrison in a rematch of one of the worst robberies of the last 10 years from last year, when Harrison was given the gift of all gift decisions. That'll be on Fox next Saturday night.
Great.
Friday night, on the Zone, we got Danny Jacobs fighting Julio Cesar Salad Jr. So we'll be covering that beating as well, because that's going to be a one-sided fucking beating. So we'll be covering those fights next week. That's next week. The week after, we will be doing our year-end boxing awards show. And then the week, that'll be the 28th. Oh, what's today? Today's the 5th. That'll be the 29th. And then, after New Year's, the first show after New Year's, we'll be doing the Fighter of the Decade Awards, the Boxing Decade Awards for the 2010. The decade will be ending in 17 days. We'll be doing we'll be doing our awards, just like the yearly awards. We'll be doing Fighter of the Decade, Fight of the Decade, Network of the Decade, and so forth. We'll be doing those shows the next 3 weeks. Shout out to the Zone. I know they're bleeding a lot of money, but because of the streaming services like ESPN Plus and the Zone, boxing is on an uprise. Boxing, it reminds me of the 80s when ESPN and USA and all the cable companies, HBO, Showtime, started showing boxing along with the ABC, CBS, and NBC networks, the major networks. There was, just like today, there was 3, 4, 5 fight cards a weekend back in the 80s. You see the same thing this year, and that equals big fights, great matchups, because you're forced to put who you're promoting on your network against each other in order to generate revenue. Yeah.
I mean, look at our show. Our
right.
show's gone. We began basically as a historian show, and we would do fight recaps now and then. Now we do mainly fight recaps, and every once in a while we do history. So
I started doing this show with you 8 years ago. It was primarily a historical show. It is no longer a historical show. It has been like the exact opposite of a show on today's boxing with some historical with content mixed in, because we haven't done the greatest performances in a few months. It's been a minute, and it's going to be a minute before we do the next one. But I mean, and every weekend is usually this time of year, Logan. Boxing is quiet during Christmas and New Year's. No, there's even a card the 28th. But I mean, we got to throw it in this. We got to throw in this award show in. So I got to leave it. Plus, Gervonta Davis is fighting the aforementioned Yorkis Gamboa. Gamboa is way past his prime. Davis is going to kill Gamboa. So there's no need for us to cover that card. But there's a card that weekend.
Well, we'll talk about it on the award show.
We'll talk about the award show. And I think when we do the Decade Award show, as of this moment, there's no fight scheduled for that weekend. So that'll be the first weekend that'll be taken off. But then the middle of January, it starts off again. Already, there's cards already scheduled throughout January and February. And the next major fight will be February 22nd when Deontay Wilder fights Tyson Fury in the rematch.
Right on. Okay, so still going strong here. World Championship Boxing. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And One Silverman, I'll be talking to you in a few hours about a few episodes of Mr. Robot in the latest season, season 4.
Yeah, which is perfect because it's Christmas time, and this episode that we're going to be talking about happens on Christmas Day. Christmas Day 2015. Right. Shout out to Terrence Crawford's baby mama. I don't know what you got down there, but you're holding on to a rich man, so congratulations, because I sure wouldn't hit that.
Man, you're a dick. She's, I think it's a testament to him as a good man, dude. So I give him props.
You know he's cheating on his side. He's probably
man.
His pops.
Now you're getting him in trouble.
This is
why.
Look,
and then you fucking
look. If a poor brother cheats, what do you think a rich brother's gonna do? Come on. I'm saying, you know, my father used to tell me, and I've mentioned this on the show before, and he wasn't wrong. My father, God bless his soul, used to tell me when I was a kid, look, if you're gonna cheat on your wife, make sure she looks better than your wife. Well, that's not hard for him to do. And one last thing he also told me was that you want to leave. Because my father had he led a very bad life. It was a miserable life. He was an alcoholic, a heroin addict. And he used to blame it on having a beautiful wife. I mean, he used to tell me I should have married an ugly wife. Robert, marry an ugly wife, lead a happy life. And so you can tell Terrence Crawford is leading a very happy life. So my hat's off to you, bud.
Hey, you know what? He might have some wisdom there, man. Okay,
yeah.
There's something to that.
My father was always inebriated on the influence, but damn if he wasn't wrong. He wasn't right. He was always right. He gave me. I've shared one last tip that he told me. This being serious, he told me when I get in a relationship with a woman, there's 3 things I should stay away from. 3 places I should stay away from. Don't date the same girl that lives in your building. Don't date a woman that you work with, and don't date a woman that you go to school with. I did all 3, and all 3 blew up in my face. So, Pops was never wrong.
Should have listened to him, man.
I should have listened. I was listening with my head downstairs, and now with my head up here, where he told me don't do it, because all 3 times, Logan, all jokes aside, it ended badly. And man, I mean, I was stalked on one occasion, and the other 2 occasions, it was just hell. It was just hell. So, Pops was right on all 3 accounts.
Here's one more. Never take a girl to your place if you haven't seen hers first.
have never done that. I've always gone to her place first. So that's a great point. That's a great point.
It's a big, because you learn a lot when you go there, right? Like
and also, here's another one. This is what my mother told me. My mother told me this. She told me, you want to see if you want to marry a woman or if you fall in love with a woman, before you think about marrying that woman or moving in with that woman, look at that woman's mother. And you'll see what that woman will look like in 20 to 25 years. And you know what? It's never been wrong.
Oh, man,
I'm 51
that's rough.
years old right now, and the women that I knew back then, when I see them, look just like what their mother looked like back then.
Damn.
And bless my woman, because her mother looks phenomenal for 67.
All right. There you go. See, that's smart, too. All this wisdom you're getting here. All right.
Hey, look, no better wisdom than your parents. And with that, I'll leave it alone. Terrence Crawford, congratulations on what should have been an easier win, and let's hope that you look better the next outing. And Logan, I'll talk to you in a few hours.
All right, talk to you soon, man. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back next week. Peace.